Hello everyone, my name is Jordan Bertone and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a quick model in Maya. So basically the way that I've been modeling in Maya so far is just been spawning polygons from the poly modeling tab and then just resizing and reshaping them to get the desired form that I've been wanting rather than sculpting out or doing anything freeform. So I'm going to spawn a cube here, and I also use this window over here a lot, the transform attributes, because I like to be really exact and symmetrical, so I'll always round up these numbers here to get the specific shape that I want and have it, like, I try and make sure that it lines up with the grid. So I'll show you what I mean here. So I want this cube for the base of the joystick to be kind of flat and wide. So I'll go to the resizing tool, and I want this to be about half the size, so maybe we'll go over here and we'll make it 0.5 of the original, 0.5, enter. So that's about the thickness that I want, and then I want it to fill up maybe these 4 squares here, so I'll drag this out a bit, and it looks like that is a scale of 2 on both ends, so I'll put 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and then there it fills up the grid right here, and then I want it to also set on top of the grid rather than being cut through the middle. So I'll go to the translation tool, move it up a bit, and it looks like that is a 0.25 over here if I wanted to round it up, and then there. So you got a nice flat square sitting perfectly and symmetrically on top of the plane, and that'll be the base of our joystick, just a basic shape to start out with. Alright, so like I just mentioned, we're going to be making a joystick with this sculpture today, and this is the photo I've been using for reference. It's in a basic Atari joystick. We already made the base, we made this square area here, and then next we'll be making these little ridges going up, and then we'll add the joystick itself, and then this little button, and we'll be done with it. So first to add these cylindrical ridges, we'll go up here and spawn a cylinder, and it comes out huge at first, so we'll scale it down. If you go over here to scale, the first one is the X, the Y, and then the Z. So we want the X and the Z to be about half of what it is now. So I'll do 0.5 from the 1.5, and you can see it's taking up about half the space, and it's like right where we want it, right in the center. Then as far as the Y, the height of it, I want it to be like really small, really thin. So I'll do like maybe 0.05. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the way I want it. And then we'll bring it down right to the square, and it looks like 0.50, and that makes it lock up exactly with that. So like as you see, I've been rounding up the numbers a bit just to even numbers, and you'll see how it lines up perfectly with the other pieces. And then next it goes up and in, as you can see in the picture. So I'll go up and I'll make it smaller, up and then make it smaller. So I'll take this piece and I'll duplicate it, which I'm using a PC, and on that is Control D, but on Mac I believe it's Command D, and then you'll see that it spawns a second one that you can move up. I want to move it up exactly by 1, so we'll just do 0.65, and you can see they're perfectly on top of each other now. Then we want to reduce the length and width of it even further, so let's do maybe 0.3, 0.3. There, as you can see, it's layering and going up just like the picture. It's layering and going up. Alright, so next we'll zoom out a bit and we'll spawn the actual stick itself. So we'll spawn another cylinder, move that up here, and we'll want it to be even thinner than those before. So we'll go to the length and width. It was at 0.5 before, 0.3, so now let's maybe do 0.1. Then 0.1. There, and that's really thin. That's pretty much exactly what we're looking for. And let's go to the translation. We'll bring it down and make it really exact, so it looks like it's at 1.7 there. But we might want to actually make it a bit shorter, so we'll scale it down a bit. Maybe to 0.5. Since I went down by a factor of 5, we'll go down by a factor of 5. And there, you see it lines perfectly. If you're a math nerd like me, you'll be able to do this a bit easier because you just take all the numbers that you're adding and subtracting, and then you'll be able to make it symmetrical. So now we got the base of the joystick. I want to give it a little bit of like layering to it to make it look better, so I'm going to duplicate it again, move it up, and then I want to scale it out a bit more. So this is a scale of 0.1, so let's maybe do 0.2, 0.2, and it's a little bit too big. Let's do 0.15 and 0.15. There, that looks a lot more like what I'm doing. That way you have like the little stick leading up to it and then the bigger joystick itself. We'll move it down a little bit. Let's do 1.25. And there you got the basic joystick. You can see it's going up like that. It looks a little bit different, but that's the creative liberty you get when you're an artiste. Okay, so the next step that we're going to take is taking everything we made so far and applying a texture to it. That way we have some differentiation between the different parts that have different colors. Because right now it's just this ugly gray color and it kind of all blends together. And even if you like look at it from the top, it all kind of almost disappears. You can't even tell the difference. So we'll zoom out a bit. And I think actually first I might resize this joystick a bit because it kind of looks ugly right now. So let's go here. We'll size it up maybe by 0.1. So from 0.5 to 0.6 to make it taller. We'll move it up a bit, maybe add a 1.4. All right, yeah, that looks way better. All right, so now we'll select everything. Just click and drag. And then once we have everything selected, we'll hold down right click on top of it. You'll drag your mouse down to assign new material. And then we'll make a Lambert. I've been using Lambert so far. Then you'll have this whole window over here, Lambert 3, which is my third Lambert that I've made so far. And for this one, we just want this dark gray color that we got going on, this almost black color. And for that, we just need to drag this slider down that just makes it darker or brighter. And there, it's pretty much the same color as it now. So now we have a nice texture going on. And then our next step will be to make the little button down there. This button right here is the red, almost orange color. So rather than spawning a new cylinder, this one's kind of at the same spot that I want it. So I'm just going to duplicate this one. Then move it to the general direction that I want. And I want it to be way smaller, even smaller than this one. And that one's length and width is 0.3, so I might even do like 0.2 on these. We'll see how that looks really quick. 0.2. Yeah, that's like the perfect size. And then to make it even, I'll just guess a number here. 0.65. And there, now it's completely even in this corner and it's equal distance from the edge on both sides. That way it looks nice and even. But we want to add a different Lambert for this one because it's this little button right here. So a red, almost orange color. So we'll hold down right click again, drag it down, assign new material, go to Lambert again. And instead of dragging the slider this time, we'll double click this and it'll bring up the full color menu. We want it to be the kind of red orangey. So we'll drag it up here. Drag it down there until we get kind of the desired color and click done. And there we got roughly the same color going on. So now that we have the button and we have the base of the joystick, we'll probably add another button on top just to make it look a little bit better. So let's go take this center stick, we'll duplicate it, we'll move it up, we'll scale it down. And what's the size of all these buttons so far? Again, is 0.05, so we'll do that again. 0.05. Actually, let's make it even smaller. 0.025. There we go. We'll move it down until it's right on top. And it looks like just 2. Alright, there. Now we have a little nub on top, and we'll right click, and to give it the same material as another one, you'll do assign existing material, and I believe that was our 4th Lambert. It was. And there. Now we got like the joystick with a little button on top, a little button on bottom, and then maybe we'll add a few buttons on the front, like the power switch, something like that. So we'll go and we'll spawn a cube, and we want to move it to the front, so let's take it, we want it to be on the front panel here along the side. Move it up here, we'll make it thinner. Along the Z-axis, I want it to be pretty much the thickness of these buttons, so we'll move it back down to 0.05, like everything we've been doing, and then yeah, that's a pretty good thickness right there. I'll scroll back down so I can see what I'm doing. Then we'll move it closer. It doesn't have to be as exact here because the buttons will all be the same, just sticking into it a bit, just making sure it doesn't have any gap between it at least. As long as it's clipping through, it'll be fine. Then we'll resize it, make it a bit thinner, until it's like a nice even square button. So let's do maybe 0.4 by 0.4, make it even. And we'll move it up. That button's a bit too big, so let's even try making it a bit smaller, 0.3, 0.3. There, that looks much better. And then we'll move it over to the side, right in the front, and kind of guesstimate here, negative 0.75. The top, let's see, round it up to 0.25, and there you can see it's pretty much equal on all sides and it looks nice and even. One button isn't enough, so let's just duplicate it, move it to the right, and we'll just round it up to a negative 0.35. And then there we have two little front buttons, that button and a button up here. And we'll give these all the same Lambert to make it look even better. Click that, we'll hold shift, grab that, then we'll assign existing material and Lambert 4 again. Alright, so now we got a joystick with a bunch of buttons on and it looks good, and I think we might actually be done here. It's roughly the same as the image down here. Added some extra things. I don't really want to do the cord because I wanted it to be its own entity and I don't want to have to add the plug or anything. So yeah, we got the basic joystick here with a little added extras to make it look a bit better. Only 2 colors, it's really minimalistic, and all of it was done just using these basic shapes here. It was actually only used just with cubes and cylinders, but you can even get fancier, make bumped up circular buttons with a sphere. You can add ridges on it using the polygon torus. You can do a lot of different stuff with it. So yeah, that ends my tutorial for making the joystick. I hope you enjoyed.